Across a shattered battlefield, where human grit clashed with the cold precision of alien drones, a single moment ignited a truth the galaxy could no longer ignore. As a lone soldier hurled his ruined rifle into the dirt and fired his pistol into a swarm of machines, and as a tank's defiant roar was silenced by a crawling tide of drones, a question burned brighter than the molten copper piercing the air: what drives humanity to fight, to bond, even with their enemies, in a universe that demands their surrender? They locked eyes across the shattered battlefield, a faceless standoff, human grit against cold, unyielding machine. The air crackled with tension as the alien ship surged forward, its core detonating in a blinding flash. A spear of molten copper lanced through the heart of the human's rifle, rendering it useless. He hurled the ruined weapon to the dirt, hand flying to his pistol. 5 sharp cracks echoed, and the nearest drone collapsed into a heap of molten slag. He stumbled back, heart pounding, scanning the chaos for anything, a rock, a stick, a miracle, to fight with. Nearby, a GRABT-3A main battle tank, its treads shredded like paper, roared defiantly. Its cannon belched a shell into the swamp, the blast vaporizing a dozen drones in a heartbeat. But the enemy was relentless. 100 more drones swarmed, crawling down the tank's barrel like insects, their charges sparking and welding it shut. The crew spilled out, fleeing, unscathed, until the commander reached for his sidearm. A deafening explosion tore through the air, peeling his fingers back to the knuckles in a spray of blood and bone. "Hold back," bellowed the Grand Admiral, his voice a thunderclap over the screams. But a drone clamped onto his shoulder like a vice. He swatted at it, a futile gesture, then howled as a magnesium flash and a single ball bearing ripped through flesh and bone, leaving half his face a ruin. There was nowhere to retreat, no line to hold. A lone truck, miraculously untouched, gunned its engine, trying to ram its way free. But the drones were no longer a cloud, they were a wall, unyielding and alive. The truck skidded, tires bursting with sharp pops, and the swarm engulfed the cabin. Thumps, screams, then silence. The command staff, those who survived, were left with wounds that would neither kill nor heal, marks of a war that broke them without mercy. The glory, the alien force, had shattered the Geneva Conventions long before humanity could claim their protection. They spared only those who knelt, who surrendered their fight. A young lieutenant, trembling, waved the tattered white flag he'd scrounged from the wreckage, desperation in every motion. Even Zor, the battle-hardened leader, saw the truth. The drones weren't just attacking, they were hurting them, pushing them back toward their own tents. Those canvas shelters now buzzed with countless glowing eyes, watching, waiting. He let them guide him, let them win. No one slept that night. The camp was a graveyard of pockmarked craters, the drones scouring every inch for weapons, guns, knives, even heavy sticks. They melted them all into a smoldering pile of slag at the camp's heart, a monument to humanity's defeat. Yet in that crushing loss, a grim truth lingered: the pack, broken and bloodied, was still bound. Not by victory, but by survival. They'd been spared, not out of mercy, but as a warning, a reminder of what it meant to stand against the glory. And in that shared scars, that unspoken vow to endure, they found something fiercer than any weapon: the will to rise again. The cost of glory. The dawn broke cold and sharp, casting jagged shadows over a battlefield stripped bare, a carcass of war picked clean by time and scavengers. A lone human stepped into the desolate scene, her presence stark against the ruins. No armor clad her frame, just a crisp, black military uniform, its edges sharp as a blade, and a light backpack slung over one shoulder. Drones buzzed around her like vengeful wasps, darting in and out every few seconds, their hum a constant reminder of the violence that lingered in the air. One small drone, glinting under the pale sun, hovered inches from her face, its mechanical voice twisting her words into a crude, guttural language that echoed with menace. "You killed 5 million of ours," she said, her voice steady, cutting through the drone's distorted translation. "Now we'll take 50 of yours. Your emperor, his generals, his entire brood." The drone whirred, projecting a flickering hologram into the dust-choked air. It showed the Emperor, once a towering figure of power, now a broken man, stumbling through a dead forest, its skeletal trees clawing at the sky. A drone latched onto his right leg with mechanical precision. A flash of white light, and the limb was gone, severed clean. Another drone struck, claiming his right arm. He collapsed, crawling through the dirt, and the drones let him suffer, let him drag himself through hours of agony. One took his eye. Another, his ear. "Your royalty begs for death," the human said, her voice cold as the steel of the drones. "But you'll live. You'll rebuild our cities, brick by brick. You'll wear our clothes, sing our hymns to your children, vote in our elections." Her words hung heavy, each one a chain binding the future. The drone's hum grew sharper, a warning of their unyielding power. Then, with a final, deliberate whir, a drone latched onto the Emperor's forehead. A stream of molten copper burned through his skull, ending his reign in a single, searing moment. "You'll live," she repeated, her gaze locking onto Zerg, the last of the Emperor's kin, trembling in the camp's shadow. "You might even thank us one day. But you'll no longer be glory. No more slavers, no more murderers, no more warriors. You'll be human." Zer swallowed hard, his throat dry as the cracked earth beneath him. The drone's pitch rose, a piercing reminder of how fragile his defiance was, how easily it could shatter. In that moment, he understood, their empire was dust, and humanity's will was iron. The Truth About Pack Bonding. By Useful Gap, 2152. Every soul in the Galactic Federation knows to keep a sharp eye on their humans. They'll pack bond with anything, stray machines, alien critters, even a half-broken coffee maker if you let them. Most find it amusing, a quirky trait that sparks laughter despite the chaos it causes. Some call it humanity's greatest strength, others, their most dangerous flaw. But it wasn't until the incident on Terra 7 that the galaxy truly grasped the depth of this obsession. Terra 7 was a fledgling colony, perched on the ragged edge of human-controlled space, founded by the Terran people, newcomers to the galactic stage, just like the humans they neighbored. Both species were strangers in a vast, unforgiving universe, their names whispered with the same cautious curiosity by the Federation's older races. But no one had yet realized the fatal mistake buried in that shared introduction, the single word that bound them together, and doomed them. The truth about pack bonding was about to unravel, and Terra 7 would be its crucible. The Terran-Terrans War, a galactic enigma. In a cosmic twist of fate, two species, the Terrans and the Terrans, stumbled into a linguistic coincidence that sparked a war. Their names, eerily similar, seemed to ignite an immediate clash, as if destiny itself demanded conflict. The Terrans, humans with a slight edge in technology, were expected to dominate. Most galactic observers predicted the Terrans would vanish within a few years, leaving only one Ter standing. But the universe had other plans. What began as a fierce interstellar struggle quickly morphed into something bafflingly civilized. Territories swapped hands like cards in a high-stakes game, yet casualties remained shockingly low. Soldiers from both sides exchanged fire one moment and traded goods the next, as if war were just a peculiar form of diplomacy. Across the galaxy, other species watched with a mix of relief, confusion, and morbid fascination. Was this restraint a strategic ploy? A cultural quirk? Or something deeper, tugging at the threads of their conflict? For over a century, the war simmered on this strange, almost theatrical note. The prized planet Terra 7, a gleaming jewel in the cosmos, stood untouched, never razed, cracked, or even scarred. Neither side resorted to slavery or genocide. On neutral Federation stations, Terran and Terran soldiers passed each other in the corridors, and only half the time did fists fly instead of words. It was a war that defied every galactic expectation, a riddle wrapped in starlight. Then, the Verks struck. Terra 9, a Terran colony on the far edge of human space, fell under a merciless assault. The Verks, a ruthless species driven by greed, saw the Terrans and Terrans as weak, too distracted by their odd, restrained war to resist. They deemed human technology insufficient to exploit the rich resources of Terran worlds. In a brutal campaign, the Verk stripped Terra 9 bare, enslaving survivors and plundering every ounce of wealth. It was a calculated move, the opening salvo in a plan to gut both Terran and Terran space for profit. As the news of Terra 9's fall spread, a spark ignited in the human core worlds. A massive Terran fleet, gleaming with purpose, assembled in the void. With a resolve that silenced the galaxy's whispers, they surged into Terran space, not as conquerors, but as something else entirely. The war that had danced on the edge of civility was about to face its greatest test. Would the Terrans and Terrans finally unite against a common foe, or would the Verk's gambit shatter their strange harmony forever? The stars held their breath. The humans' war. It was clear from the start, the humans were hell-bent on winning their war before the Verks could seize control of everything. Their determination burned like a supernova, but when their fleet tore through the galaxy, ignoring the Terra worlds, we were baffled. They swept past stations, fleets, scout vessels, even pirate outposts, without firing a single shot. No hesitation, no deviation, until they reached the first Verk world and split it clean in half, like a blade through flesh. The galaxy stood stunned, finally glimpsing the raw, terrifying might of the human war fleet, a force whispered about for a century but never truly seen. We studied their tactics, dissected their capabilities, and what we found chilled us to the core. They didn't take slaves, they left no prisoners to enslave. They didn't harvest planets, they shattered them into cosmic dust. This wasn't a war for profit or glory. This was a war to annihilate. 6 worlds fell, their ashes a testament to countless dead. The Federation, desperate to halt the carnage, stepped in. The Verks screamed for vengeance, broadcasting tales of the human savage, unprovoked assault to anyone who would listen. But when the humans finally spoke, every ship captain in earshot swore under their breath. See, humans have this peculiar trait, they pack bond with damn near anything if given enough time. Everyone knew that. So when they explained themselves, it all clicked into place. The Verks attacked the Terran, they said, voices steady but edged with fire. Those are our guys. Sure, we fight among ourselves, hell, we usually hate each other, but they're still our people. They might be our enemy, but they're our enemy. No one else gets to mess with them and walk away. It hit us like a shockwave, humans will even pack bond with their foes. 6 worlds gone, not out of greed, but loyalty to their own kind, even the ones they despised. So, the next time a human on your crew starts sweet-talking their tools or adopting some half-sentient creature they found drifting in the void, remember this, it could always be worse. The Terran-Terran war has raged for 513 years as of last week, a feud as old as it is fierce. And yet, in their strange, stubborn way, humans fight to protect even those they battle. That's their story, a tale of loyalty, destruction, and a bond that defies reason. Conclusion. The ashes of 6 Verk worlds and the unyielding defiance of a 513-year war tell a story the galaxy will never forget. Humanity's pack bonding, that strange, fierce loyalty that binds them to allies and enemies alike, is no mere quirk, it's a force that shatters planets and reshapes empires. From the ruins of Terra 9 to the smoldering slag of their own weapons, humans fight not just to survive, but to protect the bonds they forge, even in the fires of conflict. And as Zur, the last of the glory's kin, stood trembling under the weight of a new human dawn, one truth rang clear: to underestimate the human heart is to invite your own destruction.